Hi everyone, I hope that you're fine and in good health. I've made a short video for you to go over a multi-step problem from the risk and return / capital asset pricing model chapter in order to help you solve and calculate the following. The expected rate of return for individual securities given probabilities, variance of individual securities, the standard deviation, covariance between two securities, the correlation between two securities, and using the inputs from the above, calculating the expected return, standard deviation, and variance of a two-asset portfolio. Historically, I've seen that this type of multi-step problem is difficult for students to grasp and comprehend. But as you'll see, if you understand the formulas and how to apply these formulas, solving these kinds of multi-step problems are not that difficult. A few of you may already know how to apply some of these formulas, but I would like to start from scratch and complete all the steps in this multi-step problem, which of course is from your book. So let's try to figure out this problem first. So we have four columns. We have state of the economy, probability of state of economy, supertech returns or RA, stock A returns, slowpoke returns or RB, stock B returns. Okay. There are four states of the economy. We have depression, recession, normal state, and boom state. Probability of a depression state is 10%, probability of a recession is 20%, probability of a normal state is 50%, and probability of a boom is 20%. So if the state of economy is in depression, then the return from supertech or RA is going to be negative 30%, and the return from slowpoke or RB is going to be 0%. If there's a recession, the return from supertech is going to be minus 10%, and the return from slowpoke is going to be 5%. Under normal circumstances, or if the state of economy is normal, quote unquote, the return from supertech is 20%, and the return from slowpoke is also 20%. And finally, in the boom state, the return from supertech or RA is 50%, and the return from slowpoke is negative 5%. So let's go. I'm going to go to the next sheet, and we're going to look at some formulas, and we're going to look at how to solve again the expected rate of return, the variance, standard deviation, covariance between two securities, correlation, and finally using the inputs calculating the expected return, standard deviation, and variance of a two-asset portfolio comprised of RA and RB, or supertech and slowpoke. I've already solved the problem, but I'm going to go over which formulas I used and how I applied them, so that when you make your own template, you know exactly what to do. Just copied and pasted the numbers, or just typed the numbers. Okay, probability 10, 20, 50, and 20, depression, recession, normal, boom. I just typed them in Excel so that I can do my analysis. So this is where I've just typed the problem, okay, in Excel. So the first thing we're going to calculate is the expected rate of return of RA and RB, or supertech and slowpoke. So let's get started. So we have expected return R of A. Alright, and what I've done is I have the probabilities copied, and I have in column 1 and in column 2 I have the all the returns from supertech, okay, or R of A. So I have this column, and I have this column, column A and column 2, and I have the probabilities in this column, and I have the rate of return under the probabilities in this column. And to calculate the expected rate of return, we use this formula over here. We break this formula down. It's simply E of R equal P1 times R1 plus P2 plus R2 plus P3 plus R3 dot dot Pn times Rn. Okay. So all we have to do is multiply the probability times the rate of return under that state. All right. So we multiply again 10% times negative 30%, which gives me negative 3%. So again, P1 times R1, P2 times R2, P3 times R3, and P4 times R4. We only have 4 states. So probability of depression times the return during depression, probability of a recession times rate of return during the recession, probability of normal, return for normal, probability of boom, rate of return times of boom. Okay, so this is what I've done. So equal probability of depression again times the rate of return of depression. For again, we're doing a supertech or R of A. And all you have to do right now is just drag. I'm going to drag this. And after we drag, all we have to do is add them all together. Equal sum. There you go. So we have the expected rate of return for slowpoke or R of A is 15%. Okay. That was easy. For the variance formula, we're going to do variance of R sigma square R equals summation of pi times Ri minus U of R whole square. So so we have column 1, which has the probabilities. We have column 2, which has again the returns under each probability. Then we have column 3 over here, where I'm trying to do Ri minus U of R whole square. So it's again the return in each state minus the E of R whole square. Okay, so again this one is going to be minus 30%, minus 15%, and then whole square. So as you can see, the E of R is 15%. It's not going to change. So I have $D $20. So the second one is going to be again the return in the recessionary state minus 15%, and then whole square, and so on and so forth. In this column, again, I have column 4 equal column 3 times column 1. What I've done is I've multiplied Ri minus U of R whole square times the probability. So you have 10% times that column, 20% times that, 50% times that, and so on and so forth. So I have again the probability times Ri minus U of R whole square in this column. What we do after that is we're going to sum it. Equal sum. And that's our variance, 5.85%. The standard deviation, as you know, is the square root of the variance. So all we do is equal SQRT, the variance number, and that's our standard deviation. So now we're going to do the same thing for R of B, or the slowpoke returns, and we're going to calculate again the expected return standard deviation using again the same formulas. So as I just mentioned, the expected return is going to be P1 R1, P2 R2, P3 R3, P4 R4. We add them together, and similarly for the variance, we're going to use this formula, and we're going to do again R of one state minus the E of R. So now the E of R for B turns out to be 10%, not 15% like we had for R of A. So make sure that you're changing that input. So we have C52 minus D44 over here, whole square. And again, D44 is the 10%. Make sure that you understand that and use D44 or whatever the cell is in your template and square it. And we're going to drag that after, again, making sure that the E of RB doesn't change. This column over here, again, we're multiplying the probability times the this column over here, pi times Ri minus ER whole square, and then we add them together again. Okay, sum all these numbers, and then the standard deviation again is the square root of the variance. Okay. Next thing we need to do is to calculate the covariance. And this is the formula we use for the covariance. So we have summation of P of I times R of AI minus E of RA times R of BI minus E of RB. Alright, so I's are the different states again. Okay, is it depression, recession, normal, or boom? Okay. So I've copied the probability column, I've copied the superfund return of A column, I've copied this column from the problem. Okay, and over here I have, this is the formula R of AI minus E of RA times R of B minus E of RB. So this is this part of the formula over here. So what I've done is, if you look at the formula, I've done C63, which is R of A during depressionary state, minus E of RA, which is B67. Okay, so E of RA. All right, times we have D63, which is this one over here, 0%, or the return from slowpoke during the depression state, minus E of RB. Okay, and again, I don't want E of RB or E of RA to change, so I have the dollar signs over here. After I do that, so again, it's going to be the same for the other states as well. So if you look at this one, and again, you can drag it, because I've made sure that the E of RA and E of RB is not changing, so it's not going to affect my formulas. So again, for over here, I have the return from super tech fund in the recessionary period minus the E of RA, and times we have the return from the slowpoke or R of B minus the E of RB. Okay. Alright, column 5, I have column 4 times column 1 again. So again, I'm multiplying this over here, this equation over here, times the probabilities. Okay, so I have this one times 10%, this guy times 20%, so on and so forth. So we add everything together, and that gives us a covariance of negative 0.001. And then we use the correlation formula, which is the covariance divided by the product of the standard deviations. Okay, so we have the covariance minus 0.001 F67 divided by the product of the standard deviation. So we have the standard deviation of RA 24.19%, standard deviation of RB 10.49%. So we take minus 0.001 divided by, again, the product of the standard deviations of RA and RB respectively. Okay, so we're done with, again, calculating the E of RA, which was 15%, calculating the standard deviation of RA, 24.19%, variance of RA, 5.85%. We have calculated again the E of RB, 10%, variance of RB, 1.1%, standard deviation RB, 10.49%, and also found the covariance and the correlation. As you can see, both are negative. As you know, correlation is a number in between -1 and +1, inclusive -1 meaning perfect negative correlation, and +1 being perfect positive correlation, and 0 meaning there is no relationship between the variables whatsoever. So this is negative but very low. Okay. So what we need to do right now is to calculate the portfolio return, variance, and standard deviation of a portfolio comprised of SuperTech and Slowpoke. So the weights are as follows: 60% for SuperTech and 40% for Slowpoke, W of A and W of B, and they're already given to us in the problem. So what I've done is I've copied and pasted the inputs that we have calculated: E of RA, E of RB, standard deviation of RA, standard deviation of RB, variance of RA, variance of RB, covariance of RA and B respectively. And we're going to again calculate the portfolio return, variance, and standard deviation of a portfolio comprised of 60% of SuperTech and 40% of Slowpoke. Okay? WA and WB are 60 and 40%. So let's look at the formula. So it says RP equal weight of A times expected return of A plus weight of B times the expected return of B. Alright, so weight of A is 60%. The expected return of A we have already calculated is 15%. Weight of B is 40%, and the expected return on B is 10%. Okay. So we just apply the formula. So we have B76 with 60% times B78, which is 15%, plus the 40% and 10%. Okay, that gives us RP of 13%. Okay. Pretty straightforward. So the second thing we need to do is to calculate the variance of the portfolio and then the standard deviation of the portfolio. So let's look at the formula. So the portfolio variance, or sigma square P, equal weight of A squared times the variance of A plus weight of B squared times the variance of B plus 2 WA WB times the covariance term, the covariance of AB. Weight square, weight A square times the variance of A plus weight B square times the variance of B plus 2 times weight A times weight B times the covariance term. Pretty straightforward if you understand the formula and know how to apply them. And finally, we have the standard deviation of B, which again, the standard deviation is nothing but the square root of the variance, and we have equal SQRT B88 cell. So we have done the analysis using two stocks over here. We have stock A and stock B, or SuperTech and Slowpoke. But in your analysis, we can again extend this to N asset classes and N securities. So that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video and learned from it. Take care and stay safe.